What I want to talk about today is Apple, sin, and how do we win? Mental health, the mental health crisis that's going on in our country that nobody's talking about, that no one's addressing, no politicians, no media, virtually nobody. It's very rare that you hear that. So I'll just show you, I did a music video for my song called Bioweapon, and I did this. I put up the Bible, and then I drew this myself. I put up my phone right next to the Bible. And people were wondering what that meant. They're like, anomaly, I got some emails. Like, what does that mean? You got the Bible and you put the Apple over it, the cell phone. I just wanted to talk about how, in the Bible and in general, regardless of if you're religious or not, this right here, the bitten apple, is the symbol of sin, the original sin, the fall of man, some would say. But I just find it very interesting that this symbol is on everybody's cell phone. So in general, I trace my cell phone. This is as big as a cell phone is. Most people don't think about it. Most people don't talk about it. Everyone knows it's happening. The most addictive thing on this planet right now is probably the cell phone. This little rectangle right here, we stare at for 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, sometimes 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day, sometimes 13 hours a day, some people 14 hours a day. That's more time than you even spend anything else. Your world is in this rectangle, and it has on it the original symbol of sin. Some people think it's coincidental, me not so much. And I just want to talk about how we can win outside of politics, outside of what's going on in this country. We need to get our minds right, because if you're spending that much time staring at a rectangle like I am, sometimes I'm 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, I'm staring at a rectangle. What we don't realize is we think we're going to win. We're fighting the deep state. We're fighting the Democrats. Some people think they're fighting Trump, fighting Alec Baldwin, Steve Kerr, whatever. But if we're always staring at this rectangle for hours upon hours at a day, looking for something, at a certain point statistically, it's really just impossible to not find something negative or not find something bad in the world. In our country, we have 350 million people. In the world, we have billions of people. There's billions of interactions going on all the time. The Asian woman who picks up the trash for the black guy. You have all these great interracial stories. Oh my God, it's so... And then you have your bad situations, your police situations. So there's going to be millions of bad things going on every day, millions of good things. And we're sitting here staring at the original symbol of sin in a small rectangle. We have the whole world that we're not allowed to access now because of COVID, but the whole world. And we choose to stare in the rectangle. I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm doing it right now. You're doing it right now. We're working in it. But I think we need to start talking about and thinking about mental health and how to really move forward from this situation. Because as time goes on, we spend more and more time there, but we think about it less and less. It becomes normal, and we're being propagated all this nonsense, all this violence, all this chaos. So outside of how do we take back America, how do we win in general? I think people need to start trying to figure out what makes them happy, what they can do on their daily basis to get out of this rectangle. Do something that makes you happy and brings you joy. Because in this, which has the apple on it, it's everything. It's every sin. You could do anything on the internet. You could go to the dark webs. You could watch videos. It's unlimited anything. The good, the bad, the evil, everything. And nobody thinks about it. Nobody talks about it. And also, we're just ramping this stuff up. And I think sometimes, and a lot of people think, well, eventually we're going to win or we're going to lose. We don't want communism to happen. We want Trump to win the election. We don't want Democrats to take over our cities. And some of that's true. Some of that's, someone said, glad I have an Android. I don't think you're going to be saved. But, we think there's going to be a point where all this stuff goes away. There's so many movements now too, where it's like Trump's going to arrest everybody and the whole world's going to be amazing. It sounds good. It feels nice to think that one day there's going to be one situation that just totally eliminates all pain and suffering, on earth. I'm not talking about biblically. I'm just talking about politically. But in reality, I think while we're on this earth, there's always going to be good, always going to be bad. And we need to start thinking about it and navigating it, or else we're going to be attached to this thing that isn't going away and is only going to ramp up. So I just wanted to talk about that for a few minutes, and really the mental health crisis our country's facing. We have so many people that are depressed. We have so many people that are really bringing it upon themselves, to be quite honest. It's like you got the whole world in front of you, you got all these blessings, and so many people hop on their phone and just look for what they hate, or they're just like prying into like people misgendering somebody, and they're like, oh my goodness, I found someone on Twitter that said something that hurt my feelings a month ago. And it's like, if that's your life, you got unlimited ways to find that. It's never disappearing when you have this many people on the earth. So, you know, people asked me the other day, how do we win? And obviously there's ways to answer that as far as what's going on politically. But I think overall, spiritually, mentally, we have to find a way to get off of these rectangles filled with, you know, unlimited possibilities. Use them to your advantage, you know, like I do, and I'm sure many do, as far as ordering stuff, work. It's a blessing in many ways, but it's also a curse. And I think right now we're just cursing ourselves with just hours upon hours of like negative content, bad media, just bad situations online. And then that's molding the next generation of how they think. And, you know, it's very taxing on the human body and the human soul. And even for me, even if you have good intentions, even if you have what you think is a righteous agenda, you know, how long are we going to look at our phones? How long are we going to watch stuff that doesn't like I could log on Twitter, for example. I think about this. The rectangle filled with unlimited sin. When I log on to Twitter, I get hundreds of things. I get thousands of things. Steve Kerr, Stan Van Gundy, CNN. It's just people I would never want to be in the same room with, people that just nonstop lie, people that spread fear, people that don't even believe 2 + 2 = 4. And I could sit and I could stay on Twitter for 5 hours if I want and just argue with everybody on the planet that I disagree with. But it's like, is that fun? No, that's horrible. It's so taxing. It makes me want to take a nap because I get so tired at all the evil going on. But how much of it, you know, this is what I even think in my day. How do I limit it? How do I be effective? But not just get so wrapped up in it. My whole world is that, because I could go to the beach. I could hang out by the pool. There's so much I could do. Obviously, I have to work and get stuff done. But it's like, at what point are we self-sabotaging by just engulfed in all of this, you know, rectangular, just nonsensical arguments that just circle and circle and circle and just never seem to end? And even if we win the election and win, is it really going to go away? Or is every single person going to agree with the Democrats? Is every single person going to agree with Trump? I just don't see it happening. I don't think everything's just going to disappear out of thin air on Earth like that. So I think it's something to think about. And I think no matter what side you're on, whether you hate Trump or love Trump, we're spending way too much time running in circles around, you know, that type of stuff. And I just want to say, and then I'm going to answer some questions and hang out for a little bit. At this point, I'm trying to figure out how to navigate what's going on because I see that they've shut down my country. So things I used to like to do, I can't even do anymore because they shut the whole country down. They're lying and just doing all this nonsensical stuff. And then on top of that, you have an entire political side and you have an entire, you know, elite structure that pretends like they're for the people, like your Steve Kerrs, that just, they can't tell the truth. It's like, if somebody resists arrest and gets 911 called on them because they were abusing a woman and then they resist arrest, have a knife, get tased, run to a car, grab the door, you know, that's like an amazing thing that needs to destroy cities or something because, you know, getting angry at that is somehow righteous. And then when you have a kid who got literally hit in the head with a skateboard, they were attacking him and pointed a gun at him when he was defending a store. That's, you know, just blatant murder with no self-defense. And God forbid Trump say that self-defense when it was so. It's like they're not even living in the same reality as me. I don't know what planet they're on. I don't look at politics or race so much that I lie to myself like, well, that guy looks like me or he's who I like better than myself, so I'll just say any. I don't do that. It's like Trump supporters mess up all the time. There's been, you know, bad Trump supporters who've done horrible things. I can't just like sit and pretend like up is down, down is up, 2 + 2 = 5 when it's convenient and nothing matters. But unfortunately in this country, there's 100 million people that feel that way. They don't care about anything. They don't care about justice. They don't care about truth. They don't care about peace. They don't care about safety. They don't care about security. They'll lie about the riots and say that they're not happening until their poll numbers go down. And then all of a sudden they care about them again. But it's secretly the other side doing it, even though they've been justifying it for months. It's not happening. It's all peaceful. These are good people. It is happening. It's your fault. I mean, it's exhausting even trying to get into the mindset of these people. Like, how are they thinking? What are they thinking? At a certain point, I just think they're wicked people. Like, if you lie once, you lie twice, you lie 10 times, you lie 100 times, Your whole life is a lie. But the thing is, with this rectangle, this is unlimited possibilities. I could do anything. I could create my own videos. I could create a movie. I could, do anything. Or I could sit and argue with these people. I could sit in this little world, this little rectangle world, and just argue with the sin and just combat it. And in some ways I do. I mean, that's my whole job at this point. But I'm trying to be effective, and I'm trying to figure out how to have fun and enjoy myself. Because if I spend 12 hours just reveling in their world, I become that, or at least I live, that becomes my reality, that becomes my life, and that's not fun. And it's why so many people are mentally unhealthy. A lot of it is self-sabotage. We don't have to do this to ourselves, but in a lot of ways, I think the evil is cracking down on the world. Why are so many people using it more now than they ever were before? Because they're not allowed to go out anymore. Whatever you want to call it, I'll just say the devil, but whoever, politically or socially or media-wise or medically involved, shut down entire society. They took away gyms. I mean, you have not only a mental health crisis, but a weight crisis and a diet crisis in this country. You have like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people getting avoidable illnesses because we don't have good health regimens. And you're going to take away the gym? Who would do that? Is this God? Is this a beautiful force that really cares about you? I don't think so. So the point I'm getting to is it's getting more and more difficult to escape this stuff because they're trying to engulf you. You should sit on the phone. You should sit on the computer. I'm going to take away the park. They took away beaches on the 4th of July. Are you kidding me? When we understand that sunlight is actually better to be indoors, they're going to take away beaches. There's some wicked people out here, folks, and they want to drag you into their misery. Misery loves company. They want to drag you into their evil. They want you to watch their award shows where they wear these like satanic devil horns and just throw up devil signs and burn buildings and stuff. This is what they want you to do. We're not going to do it. But also, I just wanted to say in general, they're trying to not only get us to feel the way they feel, but also they want us to live in their world and argue with them all the time. But if we do that and that becomes our life, then what type of life is that? So unfortunately, they're taking a lot of stuff away. People said, I like the movies, I like this, they took it away. They're cracking down, but all we can do is really try to, how do we win? I think we got to have fun. I think we have to figure out ways to endure ourselves and to combat the evil without being so engulfed in it that it becomes our lifestyle. Because even now, there's only so much I could do. There's an old saying, if you can't fix it, you can't be mad at it all the time. If it's like, can you do something about it? Then do it. If you can't, you got to leave it alone. So you've seen how much I've worked, got hundreds of millions of views, trying to show how the CDC is counting. These people are counting. I did it 2 months ago. Everyone's saying, well, 6% of the people had COVID and the 96% or 94% had comorbidities. Anomaly, check this out. I know, those are new numbers from the CDC, but I've seen this for months. I've tried to wake people up, but I can't. Even my own family members are falling for this stuff. I can't force people to do it. So at the end of the day, then I have an option. What do I do with my spare time? Do I sit in the rectangle of sin and unlimited possibilities and just argue with wicked people who are just lying? No, that's misery. They want company. At a certain point, we got to put the symbol of sin down and enjoy our lives and figure out how we can have fun even in this matrix of control that they're trying to set up. And then we can combat them when we can combat them. But if it's 12 hours a day, make sure you're having fun for 5 of those hours. If it's 15 hours a day, make sure you're having fun for at least 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. Just try to up the level of fun, find parts of the day that you can enjoy. I think that's the answer, because at this rate of technology, at this rate of how much we're using our phones and how much we're intermingling with computers and such, there's never going to be a time until like the end times, I guess, that everything's going to be fantastic. There's always going to be bad opinions. There's always going to be wickedness. Unfortunately, they're trying to take over. But, I think even reading old books about communism and how these people operate, it always collapses. They always collapse on themselves. So it's like, it's going to be tricky to get past this moment, but they're not going to win in the end. They're going to lose. And as they're, reveling in their own disgust and evil, they want to bring you with them. So, try to avoid that. I know we have to combat it. I know we have to call it out. I know we have to stand up for ourselves, but we don't have to become so engulfed in it that it becomes our whole lives. So I think that's how we win is, enjoying ourselves and really in times of great triumph or trials rather, not triumph, triumph in times of trials. There you go. Because it's, in some ways, it's crazy what's going on, but in other ways, we're also very, privileged to be in 2020, even amongst this stuff. So I think we got to appreciate that stuff. I'll hang out and answer some questions for a little while, but I just want to talk about that. I knew it wasn't going to be the most popular stream, but I think it's something people need to hear because we're in a time when we're just so engulfed in this stuff that it's like taking over everything, and it's driving both sides of the politics insane. It's driving most of the world mad, and it's a lot of self-sabotage. It's stuff that we don't need to do. Someone said I scuba dive. That sounds fantastic. Someone said it's a war for our minds. 1,000%. Someone said attacking never wakes anyone up. Be realistic with truths. I think that's the best way. I think the best way is being kind and compassionate. But at a certain point, that's where you have to make the distinction. Like, there's certain people that can be saved. It reminds me of like a drug addict. You know, like certain times you can intervene and really help somebody with like a serious drug problems. In other times, they just don't want to stop. So it's like at a certain point, you can't attach to somebody who's making mistakes because then they're going to drag you down too. So it's the balance of being kind and compassionate and thoughtful when you're trying to wake people up to something that's real. But at the same time, if they're going to choose this life of wickedness and lies, at a certain point, you just have to separate, because it's like, you know, I'm looking at certain people's Twitter feed. It's like they're 50 years old. If you're 22 or something, and I mean, there's older people who wake up too, but it's like at a certain point, if you're in your 50s and 60s and you still don't get it, maybe you're never going to get it, you know? So it's like you can't drive yourself crazy trying to get somebody to do something you want them to do. And I think that's kind of the problem that the left wing is facing right now. As they're losing more support, as they're losing more, you know, people, they just get more angry. It's like the further they drift away from the truth, the angrier they get. The more they reject reality, the more upset and the more forceful they get. And it's not healthy, you know, and that goes for both sides. But you see that especially on the left. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen a very compelling left-wing argument that wasn't being hateful or negative or, you know, framing the opposition as like these evil people. I don't know. It's been a while, but I'll keep my eyes peeled. Someone said, do I stay off certain subjects so you don't get kicked off? Not really. No, I mean, I pretty much talk about what I want to talk about, but to me, I'm not hateful. So it's like, even when I dive in the craziest topics, I'll just tell you how I really feel. You know, I'm not a negative person, so I don't have to hide anything. You know, when I talk about, you know, there's certain topics that people on the right wing do not want to hear. They think I'm being negative, but I'm really not. So I just don't care, because to me, you know, the truth is the truth. And if you reject it, like, you're going to end up in a position like this year where nothing makes sense and you're trying to figure out why it's happening. So, you know, I wouldn't say I stick away from topics, but I definitely try to watch how I say it, because people are so sensitive. But not really. No, I'll pretty much dive into anything. And, you know, my message and feelings are pretty clear. I don't hate anybody, no individual group, no religion, no race. I'm one of the least hateful people. You have a lot of people on the left wing. A lot of people hate Christians on the left wing. A lot of people on the left wing call everybody Nazis. You're a Nazi, you're a Nazi. But then they're off defacing synagogues, you know, spray painting synagogues. Like, who's, you know, you seem a little hateful over there, bro. And then on the right wing, you know, you got people who say, Anomaly, don't say that. That's, you know, whatever. But then it's like, you know, a lot of people on the right wing don't really like Muslims a lot. Some of them do. I have right-wing Muslim friends. But the point I'm getting to is, like, I'm not a hateful person, so I could really care less. Like, the people who are like, Anomaly is anti-Semitic, Anomaly is racist, Anomaly, like, usually you look at their track record, they're the hateful ones. They hate Christians, they hate white people, they hate Jews, they hate Muslims. Whatever. I'm like, I don't hate anybody. I got fans all over the place. So, you know, if I say something controversial, it's just real. It's not coming from a place of anger or hate. It's just like, maybe you don't want to hear this. People think the truth is hate speech. What am I supposed to do about it? Not say anything? It's like, these words in general are created to stop conversation. Like, even back in the day, people like Malcolm X and Booker T. Washington, even before integration, they had controversial statements. They weren't racist, they weren't sexist. It's just like, that's how they felt. If you can't debate somebody without calling them a racist or a sexist or a xenophobe, it's like, what's the point? These words are not even, you know, they're overrated. It's like, hatefulness is bad, evil is bad, but anytime you don't want to hear something, you just bring a word up and say, that's mean. Why is it? Maybe you're mean. You're a liar. It's like, lying to people's mean. So I could really care less what people think. But yeah, I don't censor myself, but I try to watch how I say certain things, because obviously, You know, people can't handle certain topics. All right, I'm gonna read this comment. Let's see. Dawn said, what's up, Dawn? Dawn said, I saw two people on Twitter right in front of my eyes separate, leave from the Democratic Party. I mean, I'm watching a lot of progressives, like Glenn Greenwald, Lee Fang. They're more socialist, progressive-y journalists, but they're nice people. They're starting to realize that burning and destruction is not good. So it's like, people don't realize the left wing, the socialists, the Marxists, they always attack each other. I'm reading the Communist Manifesto. I'm almost done. It's an evil book. It's a terrible book. He's not smart. He's a total liar. But he's trying to justify abolishing all private property, including middle-class private property. So their ideology is to destroy your private property. Don't get me wrong. If you're black and you own a house, they want to destroy it. This is their ideology. They don't care if you're black, Hispanic, white. There's millions of black people, millions of Hispanic people, millions of Asian, millions of white people, millions of immigrants, millions of lifelong Americans that own private property, that aren't wealthy. They want to destroy it. So anybody on the left, any Marxist, any socialist, any communist that thinks this is about universal health care, that's not the ideology that's driving these people. And they're not going to stop. So just the second you stand up and say, that's not right, they're going to come for you too. And you can look at the history of Marxism. Every country it's ever gone to, you've had Marxists killing other Marxists, conquering It doesn't work because it's an evil ideology of destruction. There's no plan to build. It's a stupid, stupid book. It's really dumb. Like seriously, like a third grader could have wrote it. So it's just a wicked book of like destroying things that aren't yours and then having no real solution to rebuild something better, which is why that's what you're seeing in this country. So the left-wingers and the Democrats who stand up to this stuff, they're going to get knocked in the face too, you know, metaphorically and possibly literally. I have the video I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm editing it now, is going to be this lifelong Democrat, African-American man from, you know, I think Memphis, Tennessee, more importantly, an American man. But he's a lifelong Democrat, and he's like, this is crazy what's going on. And then he got basically run out of the Democratic Party. It's going to be a good video, but I'll save it for tomorrow. Someone said, I love your conversation with Roseanne. She has the exact attitude as you. Yeah, Roseanne is awesome. Yeah, I'll try to talk to her soon. I know she's doing her own thing, but yeah, I love talking to her. She's really funny, and she's really smart too. Someone said they're coming to my town, they must be stopped. No, I hear you. I mean, at a certain point, I'm reading the book because I have like 15 books. I told myself when I moved and got better lighting, my last apartment sucked. I had no natural lighting. Not that it's important, but I just felt like cramped and I had no space. So I was like, once I move, I'm going to get some books. I'm going to start reading. So I'm not buying opinion books. I'm buying historical books from people, from Karl Marx, from people who wrote for themselves. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I see what they're actually doing. This is not a coincidence that they're burning stuff. They're trying to pretend like it's right-wingers doing it. It's in their book. They want to destroy all private property. That's their goal. It's not a coincidence. And the Joe Bidens in the world are just trying to, you know, get as many votes so they could gain power. It's a total trap. The only one that's truly standing up to this ideology 100% is Trump at this point. He's the only, you know, he's the only option. That isn't going to just like bow down to these people. Someone said TV Roseanne? Yeah, check it out. I have a few interviews and convos with Roseanne. They're on this page on my YouTube as well. I'd love to get the list of books you're reading. Some of them I could tell you, some of them I probably can't because some of them are like getting banned and stuff on Amazon, but I'm buying them before they're disappeared. I want copies of the books that they're burning. I'll share my interview with Roseanne after this. After this video, I'll share one of my clips from the Roseanne interview. I'll just share it on my Facebook page. And to the supporters who are watching, I'm going to make a supporters only video later, and then we'll do a supporters only live stream this week. Thank you guys for being patient. All right, I'm going to read this. Someone said, what do you do when the university has indoctrinated your child? You deal with this daily? I don't know. People need to, like, the old thing of, like, we need to send our kid to college for 4 years. It's like, you got to pay attention to what they're teaching them because it is crazy stuff. I don't know the full solution. I'd have to talk more about it. I want to read this. Ronald said, how come the left wing seems fascist when it's related to the right? That's a good question, Ronald. I think a lot of people have their different interpretations of left wing to right wing. You know, a lot of people lie about it. They think like everybody right of Mao and Stalin are like Nazis and fascists. Like literally, you listen to some of these people, it's like some guy, he was like some left-wing Jewish activist or something. He was trying to say that Joe Rogan flirts with white nationalism and Elon Musk flirts with white nationalism. I'm like, bro, you have some sort of mental issues. If you think Joe Rogan is a white supremacist, he's a progressive. He's too far left, but he, you know, he's a nice guy. They think that's too far. So it's like some people, they're not telling you the real spectrum. If you really, what it's supposed to be is the further right you go, it's like less government. Libertarianism, little government. Republicans, less government. The more Democrats, they say, we're going to help. The government's going to do, you know, this and that, and we're going to have all these regulations and welfare programs. So the further left you go is bigger government. So when it comes to fascism, if you go too far right, it turns into anarchy, which is no laws. That's why a lot of these communists, they're like anarcho-communists. It doesn't make sense. Why are they anarcho-communists? What do you mean? Anarchy is no government, communism is full government. It's because in order to come to communism, you need anarchy. So it's like they destroy, and then they try to take over the power vacuum. So anarchy is no government, communism is big government, fascism, I don't know how they would, you know, define it, maybe a totalitarian government or such. Both horseshoes lead to the same place. You know, it's like you go too far right, you have anarchy. Anarchy is not going to work. It's not like, oh, everything's going to be peaceful because there's no laws. Then you have the strongest force takes over on the ground. Who takes over when there's anarchy? A fascist leader, a dictator, you know, someone like a Stalin or a Hitler probably takes over because there's no, you know, there's like, when there's chaos and destruction and nobody has any money, it's not communism. It's like, oh yeah, all the workers share all the money. It's like, that's not going to happen. It's like Chaz. What happened in Chaz? Was it like, oh, Chaz, everybody just shares it? No, it's like some dude with a SoundCloud account that has a gun comes here and says, hey, I run the show now, and he runs the show. Now he's the warlord because he's stronger than all these skinny white kids with like coffee cups, you know? So that's how it works. So you could say fascism is right-wing, you could say it's left-wing, but at the end of the day, you go too far right, it's anarchy, someone strong is going to take over. You go too far left, it's communism, and someone strong is going to take over. The people, there is no like, oh, the people are going to share everything and everything's going to be equal. It doesn't happen. The best system, although it's flawed, and our system is not that at all, especially with this shutdown is basically like totalitarian government. This is not libertarianism or republicanism, but the best system, in my opinion, is like a semi-free market. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment. There's some rules like we need a military, you know, that's fine. Thou shalt not kill, you know, you can't just murder people. It's not like total anarchy. Just basic set of laws. Don't kill, you can't steal. That would be an ideal society, but we've gone far from that. We have way too much government. So that's the lie of the media. The media, the celebrities, they want to tell everybody, we need more of this way. We're too far left. We're too close to communism. We're too close to socialism. We have too much government. You know, we need to go the other way. But if you go the other way, they call you a Nazi. They say, oh my God, everybody wants to go further right. It's like, what do you want? You want people to just destroy society? But that's kind of the lie. Is it right-wing or is it left-wing? It doesn't really matter, because if you go left, it's all communism, and then somebody strong takes over and hurts people. And if you go too far right, it becomes anarchy, and someone strong takes over and hurts people. So it's you don't want to go to either extreme. You want some laws and some order. You just don't want a total micromanagement of your life. But that's who the Democrats are. They want to micromanage your whole life. Even the Republicans. We'll tell you when the gyms will open. Just open the gyms, bro. Leave me alone. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's too much on both sides. Someone said it starts with integrity. By the way, Elon tries to enslave humanity with AI. I don't know. I mean, keep your eyes peeled with Elon, but I don't think he's that bad of a guy. We'll see, though. I don't know that he's trying to... Here's his logic. I'll tell you Elon's logic. You don't have to agree with it or disagree with it, but at a certain point, Elon thinks that computers are going to integrate with humans, and it's inevitable, so he's trying to get ahead of it. You might think that sounds crazy. You might say, well, Elon, that's not true. We don't have to merge with computers. We're already merging with computers. Where am I right now? I have the world. I have a view. I have a kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I have all this stuff around me. What am I doing right now? I'm staring in a rectangle. I'm staring in something that looks like this. So what does that mean? Right now, I'm in virtual reality. You're in virtual reality. I'm not in your kitchen or wherever you are. I'm not at your work. I'm talking into my phone and you're watching me through. We're in a computer right now. You know, I spend most of my day in virtual reality. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I live in virtual reality. So Elon, his thesis is not far off. Like, we're already so integrated with technology that he thinks like the only way humans are going to survive is if they integrate properly. So in my opinion, it might be scary to some. And to be honest, I think people should keep their eyes on Elon because there's a chance he's a total liar. But when I hear him talk, I believe him. I understand what he's talking about, being somebody that's pretty good with technology. When you listen to Bill Gates talk, Bill Gates, is his hand signals, his movements, I don't believe Bill Gates for a second. And I know that's like a mortal crime of the media because he pays everyone off. It's like, you can't disagree with Bill Gates. Guess what? I do. I'm not a fan, sorry. But Elon, you listen to him talk, he's like an authentic guy. So I think his idea is he's going to try to use computers to keep humanity on the right track. I'm not saying he's got all the answers, but I like that during COVID, he was one of the few, if not the only one, saying that this was tyrannical, this was fascist. I don't think Elon wants to enslave everybody. I don't think he wants to kill everybody. I think he just is a really nerdy, smart guy who actually wants to keep us afloat. But I understand that's unpopular. A lot of people don't like Elon. I don't get bad vibes from the guy, but to each their own. I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said, Winston Churchill, FDR, and Gandhi were all nationalists. MSM is relating the terms to Hitler's type of nationalism, National Socialist. Yeah, but here's the thing that they get you with. I'm gonna break it down on a personal level. Regardless, left-wing or right-wing, communist, socialist, Republican, whatever, you have to like yourself. You have to, if you can't love everyone else and you can't just like spread, you know, your love to the world if you don't take care of yourself. That's the big problem with people. They have no self-accountability. They have no self-awareness. In order to change the world, what did Gandhi say? You have to change yourself. So if you take it to a country level, you should be, you know, change yourself to change the world. So Gavin Newsom, he talks about Trump all the time. He should focus on California. Eric Garcetti, all he does is talk about Trump. Ted Lieu, look at their districts. They're disgusting. So their problem is they don't focus on their own district. They don't focus on their own state. They don't focus on their own country. So why in the world would you be the president of the United States and not be a nationalist? You don't like your nation? There's something wrong with you. So that word has been smeared, and I don't use that word because I'm a hip hop artist, I'm a news analyst. I do a million things. I'm a man of the world, but I'm also an American citizen. So at the end of the day, I think it's only right that I take care of my own country before I start taking care of the rest of the world. How is that even controversial? But of course they use Hitler's National Socialism, which was nationalism combined with socialism, to destroy, that word and say that anybody who does that is a horrible person. But it's a lie. And that's why they get in trouble. But also, what's their type of socialism? Their socialism is socialism with no nationalism. So it's socialism, but you don't even like your own country. Socialism, but you don't even like your own state. Socialism, but you don't even care about your own taxpayers. What type of socialism is that? So in my opinion, I don't like either socialism, but they act like they have the moral high ground. They're like, we're socialists, but we don't care about the country. Well, that's certainly not going to work. It doesn't matter that Hitler wasn't your favorite, but that doesn't mean what you're doing is working. Like, Hitler's bad, so I'm great. Like, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. I can't just point to Mao Zedong was bad, so if I say 2 + 2 = 7, 2 + 2 = 7 because Mao Zedong was bad, you can't just point to other people all the time. You actually have to provide something of value, which they can't do. What do they do on all their shows? Trump bad, Hitler bad, we're amazing. You suck. I'm sorry. It's like, compare what you're doing to what Trump's doing. You make no sense. So how in the world could you be a socialist and not care about your nation? And I don't agree with National Socialism. I think socialism is a horrible ideology. I'm just saying, they act like they have the moral high ground. They're like, we're going to be international socialists. Yeah, because you want to take over the whole world. That's what the WHO and the UN is. It's like international communists. It's like, that's a power grab on the whole world. Nationalism is like, leave my country alone. And in my opinion, socialism doesn't work because you're giving government too much power. I don't care if it's Stalin. I don't care if it's Hitler. I don't care if it's Bernie Sanders. I don't even care if it's Trump. It's like, I don't like socialism. I could care less what anybody, to each their own. But it's like, yeah, how in the world could you fix the entire planet if you can't even take care of your own people? And you see that on the left wing, they have no love for the country. They have no love for their own city. If you love Los Angeles and you're Eric Garcetti, there's no way you could allow what's happening now. He doesn't love his own place. So as they smear other people for loving their country, they lack self-love, and it's a spiritual thing. It's like, if you don't love yourself and change yourself and fix yourself, you can't fix the world. So America's trying to run rampant and spread its degeneracy all over the world, and we're having racial problems, we're having sexual problems, we're having, all these sorts of like child abuse problems. Why would I want to spread this to Belarus or Palestine or Iran? It's like, let's focus on ourselves, change ourselves, become the best version of America we could be, and then we could run all over the world and do it. But this idea of like, socialism where you hate your own state and your own people, it's a stupid idea. But for sure, all they do is point to other people. Everyone that disagrees with me is Hitler. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Someone said your Matrix Breaker video is my most liked Twitter post ever. Ryan, I appreciate you. Thank you for posting it, and I'm glad people like it. Someone said no person needs that power, left or right. For sure. I don't think so. I'm going to read this. Crimson Howitzer, he said, there's no difference between communism and socialism except in the means of achieving the same ultimate end. Communism proposes to enslave man. It's really a dumb book. I have it over here. The Communist Manifesto is a really dumb book. I thought it would be like more intriguing, but like it's not smart. It's really evil. And it's really like low level stuff. Like I'm like, anybody with a brain would understand, anybody that has any sort of common sense understands how this is going to fail completely. It's only 40 pages long. It's not this huge manifesto of like intelligent thought. It's so short. It's like destroy people's private property because, the burguesy has too much power. It's like there's no rational thought of what happens after that or how you build a normal society. It's so stupid. It's insane. So for sure, all of them are leading towards the same place, but it's okay. Thank you, Clarice. Appreciate you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you. Someone said absolute power corrupts. Yeah, you want to be left alone sometimes. It's good to have some laws, but at the end of the day, the more power they get, the crazier they get. It's like leave us alone. 40 pages to Utopia. It's so dumb. I can't believe. Like I'm reading a bunch of books. It's the dumbest book I've ever bought. It's like Where's Waldo makes more sense. I'm like, I found him. There he is. What's up, Mark? God bless Netherlands. Someone said low IQ Karl Marx. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's low IQ or just a huge liar. Also, I don't want to get into other stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I think he probably knew what he was doing to some extent. Like, there's no mention of banking. There's no mention of usury loans. There's no mention of media manipulation. There's no mention of a lot of things that are, maybe the biggest power structures in humanity. He just blamed the Western Christian world, and I think it stems from a lot deeper. I think he had a nefarious plan, but that's a whole different conversation that I'll get banned if I talk about, so we'll just keep it moving. Thank you, Alma. I appreciate it. Why am I not receiving notification when you're live? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to read this real quick. Pete said you condemn liars, but you support Trump. Explain, please. You got to give me a bit. I appreciate you for being here, Pete, but you got to give me more of a reason. If you want me to explain why I like Trump more than Biden, I'll give you like a 2-minute breakdown or 3-minute breakdown. In general, from Bush to Obama to Romney to McCain to Clinton to all these people, if you look at their track record, especially from Bush to Obama to Romney to McCain, every year they started a war. Every year they did the same thing. You had, Obamacare was basically a Romney plant. Like he helped Obamacare. He took Romneycare and turned it into Obamacare. It was all the same thing. Trump is totally different. He calls out the media, in my opinion, which is one of the most important things done in modern history. I think the media constantly lies. They constantly spread fear. They constantly overprescribe and spread pharmacy pills. They tell you you can't question that. And then 10 10 years later, there's a lawsuit commercial, so you could sue the last product that they told you not to question. I mean, the media is a disgusting, wicked entity. I think it's one of the worst things in our country that divides, creates racial division, creates chaos. They complained about North Korea and ISIS for 3 years. ISIS, North Korea, ISIS, North Korea. That was the scary thing during the Obama administration. Oh my God, because racial tensions were pretty much fine. Oh my God, North Korea and ISIS. Trump literally defeated ISIS. He stopped funding terrorists in Syria, got rid of ISIS almost completely, and they don't talk about it. He got along with North Korea. Now it's a dictator. They have unlimited tricks. They're like a magician that just won't stop lying. So Trump called out the media. He's the hardest working president ever. When I was younger and I was more liberal and I didn't like Republicans like Sean Hannity, I still really don't like Sean Hannity, but that's a different topic. In general, I wrote my senior thesis on prison reform. I said there's too many nonviolent, people going to jail for prison. Trump passed prison reform. He does what liberals want. He created opportunity zones in inner city areas to create businesses in black neighborhoods. And on the left wing, you have a bunch of left-wing anarcho-communists destroying black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, just burning everything to the ground because they're following the Communist Manifesto and nobody wants to call it out. And then you have the Joe Bidens and all the left wing who condemns it. The only one who condemned it gets kicked out of the party. So why wouldn't I support Trump? What hasn't he done? He's ended a lot of the endless wars. He's close to creating peace in the Middle East. That's not even possible. Like, most Arab countries hate Israel, and he's somehow getting a deal between the powerful Arab countries to strike a deal with Israel. He's doing it. What's he not doing? What didn't he do right? I can't even give me like 5 things he didn't do. Every single thing they've said about him is a lie. Ukraine gate, Russia gate, that he said all Mexicans were rapists, which he never said. It's all a lie. They can't stop lying. So I don't know what you can give me something you don't like about him, but I'm besides the COVID shutdown and a few sneaky lies and the vaccine stuff, it's hard for me to even critique the guy. It's like he's done a million things properly and like 50 things wrong. It's like his success rating is like 99.5%, and his opposition can't even talk, probably has some sort of mental decay, is on the decline, is almost 80 years old, is a total liar, passed all these bills that left-wingers hate, didn't support anything that he claims to. Now, what is on the left? There's nothing there. None of these people are strong enough to do anything. Portland is going to trash. Los Angeles is going to trash. New York City is going to trash. It's not because there's too many people. I'm sorry. It's left-wing leadership. They're too weak. They're too fake. All they do is lie. All they do is blame. All they do is pass legislation to steal my money. I've lived in California for 8 years. What do? Steal my money. We're helping the working class. They just steal $4,000, $1,000 to start a business. All they do is take, and then make it harder to do anything, then run businesses out, and then try to tax you on the way out. They're total liars. It's like every left-wing city is just going to hell super quickly. And there's a mass exodus from New York and California. It's not because of COVID. It's not because of the virus. It's because of their reaction to everything. They passed laws. Now they're trying, the Democrats in Virginia, to make it a misdemeanor to attack a police. They're trying to get people to attack a police. Watch the VMAs last night. You got Lady Gaga in a devil outfit, and you got DaBaby rapping on a car while the city burns. They want the city to burn, guys. It's a one-sided operation now. Republicans can be sneaky. I'm unimpressed with a lot of them, but it's like heaven and hell. Why in the world would I ever support anything they're doing? They've gone fully insane. If Obama came back and acted the same way he did in 2010, they'd call him a Nazi. They'd say he's a far-right radical. It's like Obama deported illegal immigrants. Obama had basic law and order. Obama didn't completely turn his back on the police until the end of his thing. Who wants to live in a chaotic society that's getting overrun by little communist kids who can't build anything? It's like, why wouldn't I support Trump? But I digress. Someone says San Francisco's going to crap. And these hypocrites like Steve Kerr, little Steve Kerr, he's probably as tall as me, but whatever. Steve Kerr's on, it was Trump. Dude, look at San Francisco. What's his team? The Golden State Warriors. They play out of San Francisco. Bro, what's going on with your city? It's disgusting. It's literally just getting overrun by homelessness, just heroin addicts. It's disgusting. There's a mass exodus. They don't care. This is why they hate nationalists. It's like they want to save the world, but they can't even save their own neighborhoods. And they don't care because they don't live there. They live up in the hills. They live in the rich areas. They don't have to deal with what people like me had to deal with, which is living in these disgusting cities. All of their policies make it easier to do crime. I don't want Trump to arrest like some random kid for smoking weed, but at the same time, I don't want people to be able to rape and steal. Literally, you can steal easily in California. They've made it a misdemeanor to steal under $1,000 worth of stuff, so people are stealing. I had somebody break into my friend's house in West Hollywood, broke into a bar, was bleeding because he hit some table or something, ran into my friend's house, broke in. The cops came and said, this guy's not going to go to jail because we can't send him to jail. Liberal policies make it nearly impossible to arrest anybody. So it's like they want hell. They want war. Why wouldn't I support Trump? He's got his flaws, but everything is media manipulation. It's all lies. It's insane. I've never seen anything like it. Even Don Lemon 5 years ago, you know, looks like Martin Luther King compared to himself now. The dude's a total liar. Everything they do is a lie. Everything they do is blame. If somebody defends themselves from an attack, they call him a criminal. If somebody's literally a career criminal, attacking women, attacking the police, they call him a hero. Up is down is up, left is right. I've never seen anything like it. And I don't even like most of the Republican Party. But Trump, compared to that, it's like watching Michael Jordan play a third grader in basketball. What other option is there? Jo Jorgensen? She's a clown too. She might as well be like Mitt Romney. She's a joke. But libertarian, she's, you know, oh, I'm going to stop the... She's not doing anything. Voting for her is like throwing your vote in the trash can. Someone said we're all flawed? Absolutely. So, to make a long story short, someone said, how do you stay in the music business with your ideology without being crapped on? I was never really in the music business because I never really signed a deal. I'll tell you, I had multiple offers when I was 19 and 20. I had one, I was at the Sony building, and you know, they were interested, but I didn't like their attitude, so I just kind of didn't do it. Then I got flown across the country to meet with a record label called Baby Grand Record. They did Cannabis, Jedi Mind Tricks. They told me not to rap about women and not to rap about politics. So I didn't do it. So how do I stay in the music business? Because I own everything. All my songs that have millions of streams, I own them 100%, and I give 50% to the producer. I'm 100% independent. I have no manager, no deal, no record label. So they could kiss my you know what. I don't know what. I'm not really in it. I'm just doing huge numbers all over the place, but I don't have any sort of ties to the music industry. And then people in the music industry that like me, they just reach out to me. For instance, I do big shows bigger than most rappers because the band Trapped, who has the big song Headstrong, they reached out to me via email because they like Trump. So, or the singer does. I don't know if the band members do. So I do big shows now just because somebody who likes my videos just wanted to work. So I just work on a person-to-person basis. You know, I don't have any like financial or political ties to any of these people. If they don't like what I'm doing, they can suck it. And if they do, then I appreciate it. But no, to be honest, no one really bothers me. I don't think they want that smoke. I don't think they want to have a debate, so they just leave me alone. And there's actually a lot of, you know, intelligent hip-hop artists and intelligent people in the industry who like what I'm doing. So, you know, it's like a filter. It's like if you're dumb, stay away from me. And if you're smart or you're wise, have common sense, then you can message me. 100% independent, no manager, no label, no business. There's two, I'll just tell you guys right now, just to be honest. I have two people that are interested in trying to like do something with me. One is Newsmax. Newsmax wants me to have my own television show. They're trying to, I don't know, sign me to some sort of contract or something so I could put my stuff on Newsmax TV station. But I don't know if I'm going to do it. I might do it, but I don't know if they pay me enough. But it's not even like I just want money. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So I don't want to go out of my way. I don't want to have to spend time doing what other people want me to do. So if they can, you know, meet my demands, I'll do it. But if not, right now it's nice being completely not controlled. And even if I signed a deal with Newsmax, I wouldn't let them do it. Like I wouldn't sign any of my rights away. I'd be able to do 100% what I wanted to do, or else I wouldn't do it. So I'm past the point of wanting to, you know, cave on any of that stuff. Do I think Pelosi will be taken down by the Republicans if Trump wins? I don't know what you mean by taken down. I mean, she needs to. They need to lose the House of Representatives. I'm not one to like recall Gavin Newsom. Just win the election. I don't know. I mean, everybody's been wanting to recall Gavin Newsom for 2 years. You got to beat Gavin Newsom in the election. Like where's Nancy Pelosi going to go? You got to win the House of Representatives. Whether it's left wing or right wing, impeach Trump, just win the election. I'm tired of people like, you're not going to recall Gavin Newsom. It's not happening. You're not going to get rid of Nancy Pelosi unless you win the election. Someone said my 16-year-old walked in and said that guy sounds smart. Appreciate it. What do I think about the protests against COVID in other countries? It's good, but this is I talked about it a little bit yesterday. It's hard to talk about because it's controversial. But in other countries, they're focused on what's important, which is getting their freedom back. We're losing the First Amendment. We're losing our ability to worship. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Muslim, they've shut down your imams. They've shut down your synagogues. They've shut down your summer camps. They've shut down your churches. They've shut down your men's groups. So everybody in America should be uniting. Black, white, Christian, Muslim, Jew. Let's get our freedom back. Who wants to live in a country where you can't do anything? But because of our diversity, because of our racial division demographically, we're being exploited by people. I have books written by communists from 100 years ago talking about how the Communist Party purposely exploited racial division in America as our weakness. Russia knows it, China knows it, communists know it, the media knows it, domestic and foreign. So our country's being exploited for our racial division and our diversity. So we need to come together. We need to unite. We need to look at our differences as a strength, not a weakness. However, we should be doing what all the other countries are doing, getting our freedom back, getting our country back. But instead, you have LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick, Steve Kerr, mainstream media, all of these phony organizations, every corporation in the country working against us. And this is a conversation that I'm not even going to have right now, but it's like our country has been, in many ways, it's not just like a Trump versus Pelosi thing. It's like every bank, every company, every, credit card company, every sports league, they're all against America at this point. There's like an internal, just like complete takeover of this country where people deserve to own what they built and created, but it's like these people at a certain point, they're out for war. It's like, what do they want? They don't want a fair election. They don't want freedom. They don't want to allow anybody to disagree. They don't want anybody to be like a intelligent black conservative. They hate people like Herman Cain. They spit on his grave. What was Herman Cain? An intelligent, kind, hardworking black American who made no excuses. They hate that. They'd rather you be some dumb rapper that can't even barely speak English that tells kids to kill themselves and take pills and shoot people. They like that. And I'm a rapper. I'm not making fun of people who have accents and stuff, but at a certain point, they would rather you be a murderer. They would rather you be a criminal. They would rather you tell the kids to do drugs and commit crimes, and then the kids in the streets do drugs and commit crimes, and then they end up in jail, and then they complain about jail, but it's their politicians like Biden who passed the bill that put them there. It's a whole system of control. It's all lies. So at a certain point, they're making it impossible to normally, they don't allow anybody to really bring order back to this country. And it's not just one or two people. It's like every media company. It's a concerted effort to do this. And it's not random. But, if you get too close to home, they don't like it. Someone said, does LeBron James even know what Malcolm X was trying to say? I don't think he read the book. I don't think so. Malcolm X was pretty outspoken about liberals. He's got quite a few statements in there. I don't know that he read the book or watched the videos, but maybe he'll get there. Someone said I loved Herman Cain. He was a great guy, nice guy. They hate people like that, though. It's like they can't stand a black man who wants to educate his people, which is really evil, which is why I have no problem saying this, because I could just sit here and lie like everybody else. But if I really care about Americans and I really care about black Americans, why would I lead them towards failure? Why would I lead them towards prison? Why would I lead them towards a lifestyle that's going to end them up somewhere they don't want to belong? They hate successful, articulate, intelligent black people, and they've done this for over 100 years. In the late 1800s, all the Republicans in government, all the black people in government were Republicans. Democrats weren't working with black people until the late 1900s, and they used to terrorize people for being articulate and intelligent. And during integration, they'd go to black areas and shut down the schools and shut down all of the stuff they built and said, now we want you to integrate. It's like, that's fine, but you don't have to steal and destroy what we've built. You don't have to take our stuff in order to give us new stuff. But this is the left-wing mindset. It's always destroy. It's always take. They want to destroy. At the far left, they're trying to destroy private property. That's their goal. On the moderate, I don't know if they know what they're doing or not, but at a certain point, people want to be left alone. And they've for a century now, they hate articulate, intelligent leaders who try to lead their people towards a lifestyle that will end them up in a business as opposed to a prison. They can't stand it. So what was Herman Cain? That person. And look how they treated him when he died. They'd rather him be a career felon resisting arrest than an intelligent business owner. They hate success. So what message does that send to a community? That they want you to be that type of person and they will destroy you if you're that type of person. To me, that's a little crazy. To me, that means they hate them. I don't think they love them. I think they hate people. I think they want you to be dumb and weak and easy to control and negative, and they think so lowly of you. They think you can't afford an ID. They think that you can't run a successful business or own land. Who tells you to buy land? Kanye West. He's like, guys, buy land. Do this type of stuff. And they hate him. Any black leader that comes along and tries to preach financial success, financial freedom, wisdom, truth, common sense, for the last century, they've tried to destroy with the help of the media. Someone said, I remember before Anomaly was right, how many others have been pushed right? I mean, it's at a point where they're throwing you in a corner. It's like, I don't support, even in my most anti-police days, I've never supported burning down a police station. Obviously, I know I've had family. I mean, my uncle used to be a state trooper. So it's like, I would never advocate for hurting a police officer. I just want them to stop hurting people. When I was anti-police, it was like, stop arresting people over marijuana. Stop treating people terribly. It was never like burn a police station or burn a small business. That's evil. I never, ever felt that way. So these people are evil. It's like, you can not like the police, but at the same time respect these officers who are getting murdered left and right in St. Louis and in Chicago. Like, who are these? This is crazy. Why? How in the world could I ever support this? Even if I supported healthcare and stuff, I don't support all this evil. But for some reason, they've brainwashed people into thinking it's okay. And it's a concerted effort from all these big corporations to say, it's not happening, it's not happening. Actually, it is happening, and it's okay. We're going to tell you why it's okay. But it's not, when it's politically convenient, they say it doesn't exist. When it's politically not convenient, they say it does exist, but it's other people. And then under the same breath, they say it's happening and we support it. So is it not happening? Is it happening? Is it happening and you support it? So it's happening, you support it, but it's not happening, but it's right wingers. I mean, these people make no sense. It's exhausting, but it's okay. Someone said you don't even have to be right to see there's something wrong with leftist ideology. There's something profoundly wrong, and it's the opposite of every successful. I mean, I follow this one kid, not that it matters, but for all the people that are like, oh, you're white privilege, he's a black kid. He's all about finances. He owns land. He has a company. He's my favorite person I follow. His name's Chris Johnson. I followed him a month ago. He's always talking about intelligent financial freedom. That's the type of mindset. That's why he owns lands. That's why he owns company. He's making probably millions, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of bucks, because he's got a good mindset. That's every successful financial coach, spiritual coach, athlete. People have this mindset of success. Nobody can tear me down. You don't just get fat and say, I want to be the best three-point shooter. You got to work every day to be the best three-point shooter, or else you're not going to be the best three-point shooter. So in no part of society is acting this way good, but this is the left-wing mindset. Victim mentality, blame other people, tear them down, say that you deserve it when you don't. It's all bad. It's all evil. It's the whole thing. It's just inverted reality. It doesn't make Republicans right about everything. It doesn't make Trump the Messiah, but you compare Trump to Biden, it's like comparing Michael Jordan to a third grade playing on a Fisher-Price net. And then people come and ask, why do you support Trump? Because he's the best person that's been in Washington in 20 years. I mean, who's Chuck Schumer's just a liar. You can find videos of Chuck Schumer saying, I'm calling them illegal immigrants because it's illegal, and I will never call them undocumented immigrants because that's perverting the term. So he just said that a few years ago, and now he's just saying, I could never say that word. You just said it, bro. You're only pretending because you hate Trump and you want the Hispanic vote. But hopefully a lot of Hispanic people are waking up to that stuff. I know my page is very heavily Hispanic. It's like, these people are just such liars. It's so basic. Like, all right. Someone said, I'm digging Herschel Walker's son. He goes hard. I was wondering, I think his name is like Christian Walker. I was like, who's this guy going hard on Twitter? And then I realized he was Herschel Walker's son. I was like, well, that explains that explains why he's so brave and bold, you know, with a father like that. So yeah, he's very bold. He does not mince his words, you know. So Pete said Trump must be learning from the left to blame others. Well, I mean, I think in general, he wants to get stuff done and they keep hindering him. But I think in some ways, you know, regardless of what you want to think, he just got there 4 years ago. So he does all this stuff. They say, you know, it's not his economy. He didn't do it. And then it gets destroyed because of COVID. They force him. They're like, if you don't shut down, millions of people are going to die. So he shuts down. And then they say, look, the economy's bad. It's like, Pete, come on. I know you're a good guy. You see these games they're playing? He's not a perfect guy, but it's like they control the left and the right by your hate. If you hate something so much, you become emotional. You become, you know, in some ways egotistical, where they feed you all this college stuff. Oh my goodness, I learned a theology class with this professor. And they prey off this like air of like, I'm so much better and smarter than people and I hate so much. And that's how they control people on both sides, to be honest. But it's like the amount of like well-educated people that are so indoctrinated. Like I have my favorite teacher in college. I'm reading her feed and it's like insane. She was nice. She was so smart. She was cool. But like the amount of times that she just gets deceived is bananas. We're living in two different realities. It's very odd. Someone said there are fantastic black conservatives speaking out. No question. There's a lot of black conservatives speaking out. I mean, and there's a lot of diversity even among black conservatives, but a good debate I seen recently, it was like a month or two ago, is like Candace Owens versus Mark Lamont Hill. She just destroys him. It's like the guy is like, he can't even admit that women make babies. It's like, this was never a thing when I was liberal. This is psychotic. This is like next level. He's like, I'm not going to say women make babies. Men make babies too. It's like, is this supposed to entice me? Like, I'm not dumb enough. I'm not fake enough to get like, there's got to be an intellectual discussion. There's got to be something real. Like this spiraling into like, I don't even want to, it's not just women who make babies. All right, bro, we can play this little game. It's like, if you want to transition, that's fine. But to just, you know, turn your back on basic understanding of science, it's embarrassing. It's so low level. I'm like, this can't be the norm of like the black liberal now. But Candace and these other black conservatives run circles around him. So it said conservatives have changed for the better race. The RNC was fantastic. You know me, I'm not easily impressed. I'm really not. A lot of people do not impress me. The RNC was very impressive, and I'm not easy to impress. I couldn't believe how good it was. The editing was good. The speeches were good. Herschel Walker, fantastic. Maximo Alvarez, fantastic. Dana White, pretty good. You know, Abby Johnson, fantastic. David Dorn's wife, fantastic. You know, Vernon Jones, Jack Brewer, very, very good. I mean, they had just banger after. Trump's speeches were phenomenal. The fireworks, the opera, so well done. I mean, it was Americana. It was amping me up. And you know, I don't get amped up that easily. I was like, let's go. It had me on my Americana. It was so good. I couldn't believe it. Whoever produced that, keep them. They're doing good stuff. Corey said, what's up, Corey? He said, bro, the major record companies have a lot of investments in private prison corporations. Yeah, I've heard that. In general, you can listen to, you know, the first guy. It's crazy because rap was started on a lie. And I'm not saying rap is a lie. I love rap. Hip hop is one of the best, in my opinion. What it's turned into is crazy, but the first song that really hit mainstream was like a hip it to the hoppy. That guy, Grandmaster Caz, he wrote the song. His manager stole his lyrics and then published it and then rapped his own lyrics and said, I'm the Grandmaster Caz. Like he said, I'm you in a song, and it wasn't him. He stole the lyrics. So they launched it off of a theft. They stole this guy's lyrics. And then Grandmaster Caz went on and he basically told people the prison industrial complex, the sneaky record execs behind the scenes, they purposely wanted to make it gangster. Like when NWA came out, they were telling people, we're not going to sign you unless you do what NWA did. You have to be like this. That's not how hip hop started. Hip hop started on good vibrations. It started in the hood, but it started on dancing. You're dancing to James Brown breakbeats. They got videos of the first hip hop party. It looks like a good time. There's even a white guy there, and he's just like, everybody's just dancing, having a good time. You had all these legends for years, the first probably 10 years of hip hop. It was all real. It was all raw. It was all uplifting. You had some darkness, but it came from a good place. And then it turned into gangster rap. And the record companies and the prison industrial complex, they all made people do that. You're 100% right. It's a sneaky sort of thing where it's like, act this way. And as they're doing it, you have people like Joe Biden passing crime bills to say 3 strikes, you're out. But you're telling people to get strikes. In the music, you're like, act this way. And then people act this way. And then they go to prison. So the whole thing is a setup. You could read Booker T. Washington, Manning Johnson. I mean, there's hundreds of black intellectuals from the 1800s, from the 1900s. Black people are smart. Just like what did Joe Biden say? He's like, black people are just as smart as, or like poor people can be just as smart as white kids. And you're like, bro, what are you talking about? Joe Biden. But jokes aside, it's like they teach you your culture is to act this way. That was never black culture. That was never African American culture. That was never African culture. They've hijacked black culture and convinced people with phony black puppets like Malcolm X talked about, most of which are liberal, to tell you that's who you are and that's how you should operate. But operating that way gets you put in prison. And they know that because they orchestrated it that way. You're 100% right. So it's a sick game that they're playing. And it doesn't mean you can't. I love real rappers. I love some gangster rap. You know, some of it's real. It's not like all of it's bad, but they've designed, this is who you are. And if you operate out of that, guys, they say that you're an Uncle Tom. And they've been doing it for 100 years. Why can I read a book from the 1800s of this guy who's common sense, articulate, intelligent, and then I turn on the television and I got a guy telling kids in the hood to kill people for $1,000? It's like something's going wrong. And then if you talk about that being bad, like Kanye West, they come and tell you, oh my God, he's so bad. Kanye is not a bad guy. He's talking about Jesus Christ. He's talking about buying land. He's talking about energy. He's building stuff. He's a good guy. You know, regardless of his mistakes and his problems, he's trying to educate the culture. And people like T.I. and all these record execs and the media, they hate him because they're destroying the black community purposely, or they're just totally evil. So that's why black conservatives are really rising now, because there's millions of intellectual, common sense black people in this country who've been told for decades that you're not supposed to act this way and you should be ashamed of being this way. I got all sorts of friends that are totally like outside of the two parties, but this is the new wave. That's why people like Candace Owens and such, you know, regardless, some people they rub the wrong way, but overall, it's like they've never heard somebody like that just say things that a lot of people are thinking, even though it may come across as mean or too aggressive. It's like, someone's got to say something, you know, someone's got to challenge the liberal system of what it is. Like this stuff, it's a sneaky little game that they play. They're like, we're going to pass the laws so you go to prison. We're going to tell you to rap like this, and we're not going to sign. That's what Grandmaster Caz said. They wouldn't sign anybody that wouldn't say that stuff. So there were thousands of black rappers that were talking about real stuff. They were talking about real life. They were talking about uplifting vibes. And these record execs said, we don't want to sign you. So they socially engineer the culture. They say, and then everyone says, oh, this is organic. It's not organic. That guy at the record exec, and I know some of their names, you know, you could just look them up, but I don't want to get called hate speech. They're saying, no, we're not going to sign that. So then they duped an entire generation of people into thinking that's their culture. And I'm not saying he's innocent, but I will say one of the few people that spoke out against that is Bill Cosby. He was one of the biggest black entertainers in modern history, probably one of the most successful and the most famous, and he always told the black community not to act that way. And where's Bill Cosby? In prison. So, you know, just some things to think about. I want to talk on this real quick because people have been bringing this up. Someone said if you go to Antifa.com, it goes to Joe Biden's website. It is interesting, but that's a non-story, guys. It's a trap because if, say I own Antifa.com and I buy it, I can just redirect it to any website I want. So it's probably a Trump supporter or somebody trying to troll who bought Antifa.com and then redirected it to Joe Biden. It does not mean Joe Biden owns Antifa.com. It has nothing to do with Joe Biden's campaign. It means whoever owns Antifa.com can redirect it to Joe Biden's website. It's probably a Trump supporter, some hacker or like, tech type guy who thinks it's funny. So although there are connections there, that you could say with Joe Biden, don't talk about that too much because it's a trap. It's not how the internet works. You get what I'm saying? It's not going to lead to anything. It's a dead end. And I could buy AntifaRocks.com right now or something, and I could buy it and redirect it to Biden's website. So it's a non-story. It's a trap. Someone said, I loved Cosby. That's a shocker. Here's what I will say about Bill Cosby. It's not going to be popular, but I don't really care. So think about how they treat Trump. Think about how they treat Kanye West. Think about how they treat anybody. With Bill Cosby, how much in the media did you hear about all these women? You heard about it a million times. It's on every magazine. So they said, Bill Cosby, 50 women, 50 women, 50 women, 100 women. 100 women said this, 50 women said this, 50 women said this. The actual court case, most people never even read it. Most people don't know what it's about. It wasn't about 100 women. It wasn't about 50 women. It was similar to the Kavanaugh situation where they got everybody in the world to turn against them, but it was about one woman. So the actual case wasn't all the media hype. The actual court case was one woman's story. In her own words, I did my research. I looked at Vanity Fair. I looked at what they were saying. I heard 3 different stories from this woman. I heard her say that he forced her to take the pill or something along those lines, or he said it was a happy pill, and then he said it was this. He didn't tell her what it was. She did it under her own guise. So in the media, obviously there were bad things that he said at certain times that they took. But to me, personally, looking at the court case, I don't know that it adds up. I think that they destroyed his character so much in the media. People just said, he's guilty. He's got to be guilty. We got to make him guilty. But it's similar to I'll say the Kyle Rittenhouse case where it's like all the left wing hates him. But if you look at the video, to me, it looks like self-defense. As for that one, I can't speak on every woman that Bill Cosby's been with, but the court case wasn't about every woman. It was about that one story. And the case to me seemed really flimsy. But, I don't know. That's for the courts to decide, but I don't know. It's with Michael Jackson too. Like, after Michael Jackson died, they made a documentary with 2 kids and they dramatized it. Does that mean he did all that stuff? I mean, everybody thinks so, but just because everybody thinks so, it doesn't mean it's true. I've heard the counter to that documentary and they were like, this kid's just lying. He says Michael kept him away from women, but in reality, Michael actually set him up with his girl cousin, and he dated Michael's cousin for years, who was a girl, and then ended up cheating on her with Britney Spears and ruined the Britney Spears-Justin Timberlake situation. So did Michael keep him away from women, or did Michael let him date his cousin because he's a nice guy? I'm just saying, just because everybody talks about it and it becomes like public knowledge, does it mean it's true? Does it mean it's right? I don't know. I like to look at the court cases themselves and look what they're really talking about. And a lot of times it's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of press and not a lot of context. And if you're a famous person, I'll just say this. If you're a successful person, Bill Cosby, Trump, whoever, you've probably interacted with tens of thousands of people. You've probably been with hundreds of women. You've probably just talked to thousands of women just on a regular basis. I even know personally, it's like you talk to someone one time, they tell everybody they're your best friend, and if you like Trump, they're ready to destroy you. So it's not hard to get 50 women to hate you. It's like most people have like 5 women pissed off at them right now. Most women have 5. So if you're this successful and you've been in Hollywood for 60 years, is it really that hard to find 50 people to hate you or say something about you? I watch 100 million people lie every single day. I watch every media station lie. I watch dozens of overpaid journalists lie. I watch women lie, men lie, so it's like, I don't know. I think that was before people really paid attention to what the media did and just assumed, well, everybody said so it must be true. I don't know. I question it, but I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying what they said versus the court case were wildly different, but Do I think our country's future is hinged on the Black conservative movement? No, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, everybody's important. I don't care what your political affiliation is or your race, but like Black conservatives play a big role in the right wing. However, I think the right wing, like, they're always so concerned about the black demographic. And I'm just saying, voting wise, I'm not talking about if everybody matters. I'm just saying, like, black people in America are like 12%. So all the Republicans, they desperately want to get the black vote because historically, black people vote Democrat. It's just true. That's what Kanye says. It's what Candace says. Just look at the statistics. It's just a fact. So they want to flip 5%, 10%. And they're like, if we could flip 10% of the black vote, we'll win elections forever. Which, if you look at demographics, I'm just saying, like, how big is the Hispanic bloc? And it's only getting bigger. So it's like they spend 100% of their energy on the black conservative movement. And it's important. I mean, I love good people. But I feel like they don't think about Hispanics at all, where Hispanic is a huge voter block. So it's like if you move 20% of the black vote, it's probably the same as like 2% of the Hispanic vote because it's a bigger block. Or if you talk about, you know, the white demographic or something, you know, it's like even a bigger percentage of America. So I'm just saying statistically and like strategy wise, I think the Republicans have put all their eggs in the black conservative basket, but statistically, I don't think it moves the needle as much as they think it does. However, I think because of what's going on in our country, a lot of white people are also moved by black activism. A lot of white people are compassionate towards what's going on. So, you know, I think both sides are using black activism to their advantage politically because that's like culturally moving the needle right now. You know, so it's like, I see it as like, for both sides, it's like strategic. Black Lives Matter, black conservatives. And it's a shame it's being politicized, but it's just true. And in this day and age of political correctness, you can't say anything. So it's like if I say something, people might misconstrue it. I don't care. I just say what I want. But like other people, you know, it's easier to show somebody a video of someone else saying it of that ethnicity because then it seems less edgy or something, you know? So it's like, unfortunately, it's become like a strategy for both sides. But I think there's definitely like, you know, it's big. Culturally, there's a huge culture shift going on. And I think it's important, so. I'm going to read this real quick. Courtney said, what happens when we start literally digging up everyone's personal past and hold them accountable for all their past mistakes without opportunity or redemption? Well, it's already happened. That's why I go out on a limb and talk about these big cases like the Cosby one. I'm not saying, but like reading the court case, I'm like, I don't know. I heard two different stories. Like if you're going to tell the story of what he did to you, make it consistent. I read it 3 different times, 3 different ways. It's like, to me, it sounds like you're lying, but to each their own. So, you know, it's like people throw others under the bus, but of course, it's going to happen to you. It's the same with leftism. Like, oh, it's not my neighborhood. Eventually, it's going to come to your neighborhood. So I think we need to treat others with respect and be honest. You know, if people are out, you know, hiding children in trailers and something, it's like they need to be arrested. You know, there's people all over the place like doing crazy stuff to like infants and like 8-year-olds, like, you know, just like human trafficking. That's a big deal. However, to judge Kevin Hart on a gay joke he said 10 years ago or, you know, all this other stuff, I mean, I think we've overstepped. We've gone way, way too far. And, you know, cancel culture is on both sides. It's mostly left wing, but the right wing says, oh, we don't cancel people, but they do cancel people. They do exactly the same thing when it's politically convenient. So you have two hypocritical people just bang, bang, bang. It's like, I mean, did no one have a teenage life? Did nobody make mistakes in their 20s? Did everybody just do the perfect thing all the time? I don't think so. And in general, they're not even making people apologize for making mistakes. I've made enough mistakes in my life. They're making people apologize for the truth. It's like, I'll apologize for a mistake. I'm not going to apologize for the truth. I'm not going to apologize for an old joke. I'm not going to apologize for something I said when I'm 19. So it's like they've gone so far. They're not even just trying to hold people accountable for their past mistakes. They're trying to hold people accountable for their past truth. So to me, it's gone over the edge for sure. Someone said, I love the way you cover yourself. It's very smart. Facebook blocked you. Yeah, I mean, I try to be careful with what I say, but also, I don't know. I could get my point across without being crazy. Someone said, freedom of speech means freedom to offend. It's all gone too far. But this is why I talk about sometimes the left wing is taking away free speech rapidly, but the right wing also takes away free speech under the guise of anti-Semitism. And a lot of the people who run these big companies, fall under that ethnicity, and they use that as a guise to destroy anybody who speaks about, you know, any power that they have. So it's becoming a problem. You have both sides that are part of counterculture, and then if you speak about it, they say, what are you, racist, sexist, xenophobe, anti-Semite, Islamophobe? It's like, no, I just believe in free speech, and it's not a controversial thing, or at least it shouldn't be. Noam Chomsky was a far left-wing Jewish guy who believed in the same thing I believe, but it's anti-Semitic if I say it, or it's racist if I say it. No, it's not. It's just I believe in free speech, and it's gone far past freedom. It's like exaggerating. You can't talk about Mark Zuckerberg or Susan Wojcicki having any power. You can't, you know, say anything. You can't talk about anybody except for, it's like, it's all too much. And it doesn't stop racism. It doesn't stop xenophobia. It doesn't stop anti-Semitism. It only builds, because not allowing people to say stuff only makes people upset. If you notice something and you say it and they say, get down, boy, you can't say that, does that make you think, oh man, those people don't have power? You're like, you know what? You know, now that they're burning my neighborhoods, I really like the left wing. Or like, you know, I'm just going to ignore crime statistics and LeBron James is going to scream at me. So now race relations are at an all-time high. It doesn't work that way. That's not, the people who really, you know, make race relations better are people who lift up themselves, people who lift up their own ethnicity, and then people who lift up the country and the world. It's not people who are evil and wicked and nasty and negative and hold themselves to a higher standard than other humans and say, I don't have to be the change I want to see in the world. I can lie, I can cheat. That doesn't help, but they know that, don't they? I don't know. Someone said, is Ben your biggest competition? I'm not, this is not a competition to me. I mean, my competition is myself. My competition is, I mean, really just lies. You know, I see my opponent as just lies and evil. So I don't compete. I'm glad Ben's doing better than like CNN or something. So I don't look at other conservatives and like compare statistics or anything. It doesn't matter to me. I like people who tell the truth. If somebody is honest, I hope they do better than me. But what I don't like with other people is when they lie, when they sell out free speech, or they, you know, want to start wars or something, then I disagree. But it's not out of competition. It's not out of like, oh, I want to be more viewed. It's like, that's not why. I don't have that feeling. I'm very blessed. I'm doing very well. And I'm not looking for, you know, it's tough to get the amount of attention Ben gets. He gets, you know, he trends on Twitter all the time. Like a lot of celebrities pick on him because he's so, you know, famous and out there. So that's not something I really desire. It's tough to deal with that much publicity, you know. So it's not as desirable as some people might think. Do I follow Tim Pool at all? I follow him on Twitter, just Twitter, not really Facebook or Instagram or anything, but I see his tweets. He's getting heated up, I could tell. He's like a former liberal, he's ticked off, and I understand why. You know, I think Tim Pool has a good heart and a good soul, and I think he's very upset by the evil in this country, so he's definitely one of the better guys out there. Should Trump do the Insurrection Act? I think so. It's already a bill. If we could say, I'm not, and I don't want martial law, but it's like you can't terrorize neighborhoods. You know, I don't want this for anybody. I don't want this for any neighborhood. So I think he should use it because he doesn't need to pass it. It's not an executive order. It's already been passed. He just has to enforce it. So I think I would have no problem with that. Albina, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. God bless. God bless. Someone said Tim Pool's coming along nicely. Yeah, he's getting pretty angry. And, you know, I don't like to see anger, but at the same time, at a certain point, it's like someone breaking into your house or something. Enough is enough. That's where Tim Pool's at. He's fed up. Enough is enough. And I respect it. You know, I kind of like to see it. I like to see him a little fired up. You know, someone said Dan Bongino's good too. Yeah, him and Ben are crushing. On Facebook, I follow the top 10. Like, Bongino and Shapiro are just constantly getting just massive traffic. So, you know, I don't follow their pages that much, but I, like, you know, on a scale of them or CNN or anything, I would think that their content's a lot more accurate, which is why people are viewing it. Someone said my foot hurts. I'm sorry, Pete. God bless you and your foot. God bless. Let me see. Pete said, to be clear, Trump doesn't lie and cheat according to you. Pete, just give me, here you go. First of all, I want to say, Pete, I appreciate you still watching, because I know you were mad at Trump like an hour ago and you're still here, so thank you for being here. Give me an example of like what you don't like about Trump, or when he lied or when he cheated, because I've watched Trump lie before. I think he's more honest than anybody else, but I think he lied about COVID. I think he lied when he said, you know, millions of people would have died if we did what Sweden did. I don't think so. So I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying I've never disagreed with him. I'm just saying compared to Mitt Romney, John McCain, or Obama, he's like Michael Jordan. I'm not saying he's like the most honest person to ever exist, like he's Jesus Christ reborn. I think he's lied before, but I think you compare his track record to any other politician, I don't know. I can't think of any politician that impresses me more and that has told more tough truths. So I'm not saying he's flawless. Just let me know exactly what you don't like about him or what part that really bothered you, and then we could go from there. Someone said, cool hat, God bless. Thank you. It's dreamrare.com. If you want to get one, dreamrare.com. I designed it myself. It's made in the USA. It's kind of vibey. I love these hats. I love it. It's a nice little white hat. I feel like a golfer. You know what I'm saying? It's got a nice little message on it. I'm pretty pumped. And hold on one second real quick. And I got these shirts too. I got these as well. You see what I'm saying? Have a good day. I'm just saying, listen, you don't have to get one, but I'm excited. I've never launched merch before. I took a while because I want to make sure the quality was good. I don't want crummy quality that just falls apart and looks crappy. So, you know, I'm feeling good in my God bless hat. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let me see. Where are we at? Do I think the media will ever be forced to become less biased? I think if history repeats itself, probably, yeah. But I don't know. What's happening now just doesn't seem sustainable. Something's going to have to give. Let me see. Derek said the rapper DMX has been speaking out against a bunch of political things, and they shut his career down and was continually framed by the law. I'll have to look into that. Be nice to my man Pete, though. You know, Pete doesn't agree with me, but he's watching, he's listening, and that's love. You know, how cool is that? You don't got to be mean to him. Let him have his moment. Let me see. What did Pete say, though? I didn't say it here. Should I scroll up and try to find it? Let me see. Did he answer? Sorry, I might have missed it. But be nice, guys. We don't do that here. Oh, you say, God bless you, brother? Oh, no. The other Pete didn't really answer. I don't know. Let me see. I don't see it, at least. I'm looking for it. Sorry, I'm scrolling, guys. Oh yeah, my hat's backwards. I'm sorry. I don't know how to flip it. I don't know, guys. Sorry, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. Someone said, I love the art behind you. Can you give me a background? I bought it at like a flea market when in California. I was at some sort of like farmer's flea market sort of thing. And I saw that, and it's got the nice gold frame. You know, it looks really expensive. I got it for like $100 or something. It was pretty, I mean, it's not cheap, but like, it's a really big frame here. I don't know. Can you see what I'm saying? It's actually really big. Like, people are like, dang, it's a huge picture. It's just that wall's far away. But I just got it. I don't even know who made it, to be honest. I just saw it, and I was like, that's a good deal. Let me get that. Someone said, can you hold the media for inciting violence? No, because, I mean, it's tough with free speech, you know, what you can and can't enforce. Because if someone says, hey, go commit violence like against innocent people, then you could probably do something, but they don't say that, you know? And there's movies and shows where they're like training people to kill people. Like literally there's television shows where they tell people to do that. But with the First Amendment, it's hard to really charge. And it's something that if you open Pandora's box with that, it's going to backfire on you. Because they literally, Chuck Schumer tried to say that Trump is inciting violence because he said law and order. Politicians are making law. They're also called lawmakers. Politicians create law, and we are ordered to follow the law. So Chuck Schumer's such a liar, he thinks Trump's inciting violence by saying law and order. They're lawmakers, they make law, and we follow their orders. If we don't follow their orders and we don't follow the law, they arrest us. So how in the world is saying law and order inciting violence? But they live in opposite world. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Someone said, I think hate speech should be outlawed, but what does that mean? Millions of people hate the truth, so you can't outlaw hate speech. Everybody hates hearing anything. It's like you have major groups with a lot of power in this country that don't want to take any accountability. So if you try to give them any sort of accountability, they don't want to hear it. They call it hate speech. They have a word for it. So they have thousands of special interest groups to protect their interests as an ethnic group, thousands of them, literally thousands, to protect them as a group. But if you point to them as a group, they call it hate speech, and then they shut you down. Is that sustainable? Of course it's not sustainable. These people want zero accountability, but 100% protection as a specific group. That's where the hypocrisy comes in. They blame you for everything. They could blame your ethnicity, your gender, your political party for everything. But if you dare suggest they're doing what they're literally doing, they're going to call it racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, whatever. They got a word for everything. So, this is not sustainable. But we'll see what happens. All right, I got like 5 or 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to take off. And then I'm going to edit my video for tomorrow morning. It'll be out in the morning. If you're a supporter on the supporters only, I'm going to have a video tonight in like 20 minutes or so. And if y'all want, God bless hats at dreamrare.com. Yeah, I don't have this is even better than an anomaly hat. I have the anomaly shirt, if you want the anomaly shirt, but you don't need my name. It could be, but like God bless is even better. You got a shirt that says a hat that says anomaly. It's cool. It's like, yeah, I like it. But like you got a hat that says God bless. I know I need to flip it around, but you know what I'm saying? Like people see your hat and they're just like, huh, okay, that's cool. Are there really peaceful protests? There are peaceful protests, but a lot of what's going on in the country now is not peaceful, and they don't want to talk about it. So, if a protest starts peaceful and it ends violent, it's not a peaceful protest. And you got to identify who's doing it. But the people who are doing it, they want them to do it. They're writing articles about how great it is, and then they write an article that says it's not happening. Do you support it or do you not? They do support it. They love it. They write about how they love it, and then they write about how it's not happening. And then they write about how it's happening, but it's someone else doing it. It's like it's so chaotic, even trying to get into their minds. It's like just living the life of a liar. I don't know. I'd love to do an interview with you about media dishonesty. You could email me, but I don't know. I mean, I got so much stuff going on. You'd have to email me like your page and what you do and stuff. And there's a possibility. I did an interview last week, but I don't know. I get so much emails, I just get overwhelmed, and then I just click X. A guy told me 90% of them are peaceful. There are peaceful protests, but at the same time, if you're peacefully protesting, if you scream about hurting somebody or you block traffic, it's not peaceful. You're blocking nurses and doctors and landscapers and all types of people who need to go to work. You're blocking traffic. That's not legal unless you have a permit. So that straight up is illegal. The stuff they're yelling at people, it's like, they're all working together. They're like, you stand here, and if you don't admit it, you're not an honest person. It's like, hey, if we're going to stand and block traffic for 5 days and people are burning stuff, let's stop blocking traffic and helping them. They're not interested. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about what's right. It's sad, but whatever. Someone said there have been many peaceful open up and freedom protests in California. Yeah, and there's some peaceful Black Lives Matter protests. There's small little skirmishes in certain places that never get that big where they're just standing there saying stuff. But the crisis in this country right now is, one, they're not allowing freedom protests. If you open up, when you try to open up and say, hey, let's open the country back up, they banned people on Facebook for supporting that. They said it's illegal on our platform, or it's not allowed to support these protests. So what message are they saying? If you want to open up and be free, you can't do that. If you want to burn stuff down, we don't even see it. That's fine. You know, that's racism is more important than this. They want this stuff to happen, whether they admit it or not. It's like, why else would they be doing all this? So there are peaceful protests, but the two biggest scandals in this country right now is, one, the fact that the federal and local governments have destroyed the economy. Now the stocks are doing good, but mom and pop shops are suffering. We're still at 25% capacity. Most states still won't allow gyms to open as we have a health crisis in this country. They're still just taking all of our amendments and constitutional rights away. That's the biggest thing that's going on in this country. And because of our, racial tension, nobody's talking about it. And then the second biggest story in this country is the fact that you have insurrectionists burning down federal buildings, trying to burn down police stations, burning down mom and pop shops, Black businesses, Hispanic businesses, Thai businesses, white businesses, American businesses, regardless of your ethnicity. That's the big story. Yeah, there's protests too. Yeah, I can go for a jog today, but that's not the biggest story in the country. The two big stories are the burning, the riots, the looting, the destruction, the collapse of major cities that millions, including many liberals, are leaving. Hopefully they learn and vote the other way. That's the story. The story is not, well, there's the peaceful protest and then the not peaceful one. Yeah, we get it, but it's kind of a big deal. And if you don't care about the city burning and you don't care about the country opening, then what do you care about? What's the point? You're not a good person. Like the two biggest stories in the country, you don't even care about. You're like, well, I'm angry that something happened, so I'm just going to justify this for now until somebody tries to protect themselves. Then I'm going to blame it all on them. It's like these people need to get a grip, folks. Jamie said, love your song, Matrix Breaker. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. I got a new song coming out with my buddy Patriot J. I just wrote it and recorded it yesterday. And then I have my own new song, maybe in a couple weeks. Someone said, I want to buy a Trump hat or a shirt, but I'm afraid to be attacked. I mean, what does that tell you? If you wear an Obama hat, if you wear a CNN hat, nobody's going to bother you. If you wear a Trump hat or you have a Trump flag in your car, they just shot at somebody in Los Angeles yesterday. They just shot at a car for having a Trump thing. They just murdered somebody because he's a Trump supporter. And then they blame that one kid, Kyle. I don't like what happened, but he was getting attacked with a skateboard. A guy was 2 feet away from him pointing a gun at him, and he shot and saved his own life and took out other people. It's not right. I don't wish it on the world, but it's like they're out literally attacking buildings, trying to kill police officers, trying to just pillage suburban houses, and it's all part of their plan. It's written in the Communist Manifesto. They're open, admitted Marxists and communists. That's what they want. It's being supported and propagated by major media under the guise of liberalism and racial activism. So at a certain point, yeah, but you can wear, not to promote my own stuff, that's why I made the God Bless hat. One, I like it, but also you could wear this hat and people won't bother you. I'm not saying you have to, but yeah, it's not a good time to wear your political hat because one side of politics is not peaceful. I mean, everyone gets that, but where can you hear my music? My last song, Matrix Breaker, is only on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Anomaly Matrix Breaker, watch that video. Warning, parental content advised. It's lyrically, it's got curses and profane content, so it's not for kids. And then I have songs on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. You just have to spell my name right. Anomaly, A-N-0-M-A-L-Y. What's up, Tracy? I'm about to leave. You came at the end. I hear you, Amanda. What's up, Lori? All right, it's 4 more minutes and then I'm out. Blake, appreciate you. Thank you to you and your girl. God bless y'all. God bless. I know it's backwards, but you could tell how fly it is, right? Someone said I wear my Trump shirts all the time. I mean, at a certain point, yeah. I was in South Dakota. There were just hundreds of Trump shirts. Nobody cared. Someone said, my life was threatened today on an ABC thread of Trump's tally, calling all angels. I'm sorry, Tammy, but that's the unfortunate reality of the internet nowadays, guys. If you're posting on other people's, like, I'm not saying not to. If you want to post your opinion on liberal websites, you can, but you know what type of people they are, so you have to understand the risk involved. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying not to do it, but you have to understand, like, when Trump supporters went to Portland, I obviously don't like that. Somebody who likes Trump got killed. I don't like when anyone gets killed. But you kind of know what you're doing if you go to Portland. Obviously, you have the First Amendment right to do so. Obviously, you have the right to show your love for the president in Portland. But if you're going to drive hundreds of Trump cars into an area that has been taken over by left-wing insurrectionists who want to burn everything down and kill Trump supporters, you know what you're getting into. I'm not saying it's right, but you're taking a risk. It's the same with commenting in a hive, a den of psychopaths and a den of people who are brainwashed by mainstream media. You know, if you don't want to get that attention, don't comment on it. I'm not saying you should have to think like that if you want to comment, but it's like, you know, you go onto a liberal post and you make a message that makes sense. These people do not like you. You know, it's very clear. I mean, so, you know, for your own safety, I would just, you know, watch where you say things, or say it and then understand that these people are out for blood. Unfortunately, you know, there's millions of people in this country that have totally lost it, including mass media, including sports teams. They're totally deranged. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that you should bow down to it, but, you know, at a certain point, the craziest place to be is in an area where all these people are agreeing with each other. So how does this end? I mean, I don't know. I can't even really say, but, like, this is why I do what I do, because everyone says everything's racist, everything's sexist, everything's anti-Semitic. You can't say anything. These words were created to stop you from criticizing anything. Back in the day, for all of human history, including now, people are tribal. People want to be around people like themselves, around their own interests, around their own ethnicity. You go to Chinatown, most of them are Chinese. You go to Koreatown, they could go anywhere in the country, but they choose to stay with each other. In the 40s, 50s, 60s, every other country on the planet besides America, most people, the demographics are like 90% one. This is the most diverse place in America, but even here, people still, with the freedom to do anything, pretty much choose to live among themselves, except for a lot of the major cities, which are all failing. I'm not saying it's because of that. I'm just saying in general, there's conversations that are going to need to be had in general that you can't just scream racist. You can't talk about that. Everything's xenophobic, anti-Semitic. So the point I'm trying to get to is you can't say anything. So in a country that has no First Amendment, people turn to violence because they can't, say what they feel, and some people don't want to say anything. Antifa and them, they don't really have a message. They want to destroy private property. You give them a microphone, they don't even want to talk. You can give the furthest right person on the planet a microphone and they'll tell you what they feel, what they believe, and you could disagree with it and think it's horrible, but they'll at least talk and say, this is what I believe, this is how I feel, and you're like, man, that's hateful, but okay. The left-wingers, the far left-wingers, they don't want to talk. All they want to do is destroy. So is this going to end in violence? It's already starting, but in general, if you study history, and this is the part that they don't teach, this is the part that they leave out, where it's like every major crisis, there's been a lead to it. Whether it's Rome, World War I, World War II, it didn't just come out of nowhere. I think that's what they teach kids. It's like, oh my God, Stalin just went crazy, and Hitler and Mao Zedong, and they just went nuts, and then Rome just got... Why did they collapse though? What happened? What were the true catalysts? It wasn't just Franz Ferdinand being assassinated. That's just what they teach you because it's politically correct to do so. There's hundreds of years, 50 years, 60 years of economic collapse, social decay. You know what I'm saying? If you look at Rome or Germany or any of these countries, you have social decay. In Rome, you have the extending of their country where they just, didn't focus on themselves and were all over the place. They overextended. And when it comes to World War I and World War II, you had the Bolshevik Revolution. You had, complete economic devastation where nobody had any money. So if you destroy a country into oblivion, eventually there's only two options. You get communism or you get somebody like Hitler. It's not ideal. nobody wants this, but what else would possibly happen? When you have people burning the cities, either you allow Trump to just be a normal, chill guy, or you overrun him, you destroy cities, Trump isn't strong enough to do it, and you get someone 10 times as crazy as Trump. There's no, what else would really happen? So I mean, at a certain point, if law and order is not restored, there's only someone extreme is going to take over, because that's what happens when chaos happens. So in Chaz, like I said earlier, what happened in Chaz? The strongest person took over. It was some SoundCloud rapper who had a gun, who just was more, gangster than these other kids. So he took over. It wasn't socialism or communism. It was the strongest force on the ground. And that's what's going to happen in this country. And that's what Trump is right now. But he's not even that bad. He is that strong, but he's not mean. He's not hateful. He doesn't point at groups. He just tries to do the right thing for America most of the time. And people can't accept it. So if people reject what's happening right now, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen is more chaos, more violence, and who's going to rise from that? Is Bernie Sanders going to rise? No, he's too weak. Is Ted Wheeler going to rise? No, he's too weak. Is, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi going to rise? No, she's too fake. Who's going to rise? Someone crazier, And these conversations that people don't want to have are going to eventually be had. They're already starting to be had, and they're censoring them. So we need to have honest, real discussions and also figure out a way to turn this boat around to head in the right direction, because it's not heading in the right direction right now. But these are conversations that they desperately don't want to have. So it's like you have problem, driving off a cliff, and anybody that tries to stop them, they call a name. They got a name for everybody. You're too far right. You're Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. You're anti-Semitic. You're racist. It's like, if you want to drive this thing off a cliff, you feel free. But honestly, you're going to hurt everybody. Every group that you claim to be saving, every person that you claim to look out for, you're going to end up like sacrificing. You're going to end up putting in a position where it gets to a point where people feel this way. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there isn't this huge racial division in the country, in the cities, even in the country. Just leave me alone, do your own thing. No one cared, but because of the LeBron James, because of the Colin Kaepernicks, because of the mainstream media, because of the Steve Kerrs and the Stan Van Gundys or whoever, because of these liars, they're only increasing racial division. They're only increasing segregation. I mean, it's like Harvard or whoever. They're like, we're going to do our own school. We're going to build our own land. I have no problem with that. Do what you want to do. You want to build your own land or have your own school? It doesn't bother me. But they're the ones always saying, you can't do it, but I can. We're going to force integration, but we're also going to segregate it. Make up your damn minds. These people are psychotic. It's like they're obsessed with, cities and gentrification, but at the same time, they hate gentrification. They're like, I'm going to move to Williamsburg and Crown Heights, and then I'm going to talk about how bad gentrification is. You are gentrification. You're a white person or someone else moving to an area that's not a majority white. You are the gentrification. So you hate yourself. Like, if you don't like gentrification, don't move to the city. Or, we hate segregationists, but we are going to self-segregate our black university. It's like, then you like segregation. It's not for me, but that's what you're doing. So they don't make any sense. They lie about everything. They censor discussion. They do every single thing they claim to hate. And to be honest, when you give people freedom, people choose to do their own things. They don't understand. In Koreatown, Koreans want to live around Koreans. Chinatown, Chinese want to live around Chinese. Most people just feel that way with freedom. It's the same way with, women and men. If you give women and men 100% freedom and 100% equal opportunity to do everything, women and men just choose different things naturally. You can't force every woman to be in tech. They don't want to be in tech. More women want to be nurses, but some guys do too. But it's not going to be 50-50 because they don't want to. You can't force somebody to do something. The WNBA is not going to be as good as the NBA. They're going against God. They're going against reality. They're going against, basic tribalism that's been around for thousands of years. If you're not tribal, it's not a big deal. But it's like they force everyone to do things that they don't want, but then they do exactly what they said they don't want everyone else to do. It's a recipe for total disaster. And it's in our country right now, it's a huge problem that the people who can really solve the race division are the people they hate the most. They hate the people who would allow us to live peacefully. They are the exact type of people to increase racial tension, to increase tribalism, to increase the division, and make it impossible to live together, because when you do, they want to attack you solely because of your race. There's people who are getting executed because they have light skin color by people who say, I did it because of your skin color. That's racism. That's murder. But they don't care. They're propagating it in the media. So they're forcing people to a point where you almost have to stay by yourself or move to the country because you can't live around anybody. You can't live around these people because they want to kill you. You can't live in the city because it's not livable anymore. They don't even open businesses up. And then they're like, where's everyone going? Away from you. You're psychotic. So, you know, they're making a recipe for disaster. There's no other situation. They're like, oh, white flight. It's like I can't live in this neighborhood because you don't want me here, and also you're not even opening up. I have to go somewhere else. They make no sense. It's insane. So yeah, unfortunately, tough times are coming unless these people stop. Everything that they claim to do, they do the opposite. Everything they claim to want, they're the sole preventer of racial harmony in this country. The only way to get, even though people segregate on their own, like in black communities and in Hispanic communities, there's a lot of self-segregation just, you know, naturally. But the only way to bring everybody together in this country and fully integrate and be successful is to love the country. I'm from Cuba, I love America. I'm black, I love America. I'm from Africa, I love America. I'm Polish, I love America. I appreciate it here. We're all American. We're going to do this together. What's the one thing that the left wing hates? Nationalism. They hate Cubans who like America. They hate black people who love America. They hate conservatives who love this country. They hate every race who wants to get along. That's the only way we can get along. It's not possible any other way besides with a right-wing mentality of like, I love this country. I respect my neighborhood. I respect private property. I don't care about your skin color if you're my neighbor. I don't want crime on my street. I don't care if it's black crime, white crime, Hispanic crime, no crime in our community. That's the only way. And where do you find that mentality? In conservatives. It's not in liberals. They make excuses for crime. They make excuses for degeneracy. They think you can't afford an ID if you're a certain ethnicity. They're destroying major cities, and then they're crying victim and crying racism. It is projection. It's a total psyop. So the only possible way, you have to understand, we're an experiment. You look around the world, there's never been another country like America that's as diverse. And it can be a curse and it can be a blessing. I see it as a blessing, but they bring out the curse. They don't let us succeed. They don't let us thrive. The mindset of the black man or the Cuban man who is just so grateful to be here, who fought in the war and who wants to thrive, they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to brainwash your kids into never feeling that way again. So people are like, why do you like Trump? If you just look at it with common sense, regardless of politics, the only way to have racial harmony would be to all love this country. That's the only thing that we have in common. Without that, we have nothing. And that's what they do. They divide us and then act like they're uniting us. LeBron James could never bring people together. He's going to make more people racist. He's going to make more people hateful. He's going to make more people afraid, because if you look at crime statistics, statistics don't lie. You look at the police blotter doesn't lie. So instead of trying to improve that, he's just making it worse and worse and blaming someone else for it. So at a certain point, you know, they're going to get rid of statistics in the crime blotter because it's not favorable towards their racial narrative. You have, you know, massive amounts of murder in certain areas. Everyone sees it. So you don't acknowledge it. You don't even say it exists. You blame a police officer as black police officers are getting murdered every weekend. You say nothing about it. Black kid murder, you say nothing about it. You make a scene for 6 months over something that you took out of context and expect people to like you. You're only going to make people hate you. It's insane. The way you make people love you is just by being a good person. If you're Jewish or you're black or you're Hispanic, just be a good person. Be the type of person that people look at and say, I want him to be my neighbor. I want him to be in my community. That's somebody that I'd live next to. That's somebody I want to barbecue with. That's how you stop racism, by being a Jew or a black man or a Hispanic man. That's just cool and awesome and respectful. That's what stops racism. You can't just stop racism by being a total POS, by being a total liar, by being a total con artist, by, you know, condemning your own country and then working with a communist country that, you know, puts people in camps and has sweatshop labor. That doesn't make people like you. That doesn't make people look at your race more favorable. That doesn't make you more impressive. So that doesn't defeat racism. You have to just be a decent person. And that's how they did it in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 1800s and 1900s. And that's why Republicans voted for black people in the 1800s. Racism was around, but at the same time, why were so many Republicans voting for black people? Because they were just good people and they were better at the job. So if you have a white guy and a black guy and the black guy's better, you say, it's not about race. I like the black guy better because he's a better person. And that's how it was going. But liberals have always subverted. They've always lied. They've always been doing the same thing, dividing, opening up old wounds, being exactly who they claim not to be. It's the same story on loop. And the more I read history, the more I learn. They've been doing this for 100 years. They've never stopped. They've always been the ones that have been racist. They've always been the ones that have cared about skin color over content of character. Whether black or white, they just reverse. They don't care about the soul. They don't care about the person. And that's the only way this country will succeed is, I like that guy because of who he is, not because of his skin color. But in their eyes, that guy's skin color and that guy's skin color means regardless of what happened, he's wrong, he's right, regardless of the situation, regardless of what he did or didn't do to the woman, regardless of the weapon, regardless of the past. We can't thrive that way. We're never going to be a succeeding country, and they know that. And that's why they're getting overrun by communists. Communists, the far left, wants to destroy private property. They're destroying private property because in the manifesto that they all worship, they don't worship God, they don't worship the Bible, they don't worship the Quran, they worship communism, and they want to destroy private property. And the media pretends like they don't see it, or it's coming from somewhere else. And the Democrats pretend like they don't see it, or it's coming from somewhere else. So either they're stupid, they're fake, or they secretly support it. You can figure out which one, but this is not a recipe for success. But God bless you guys, God bless your family, God bless America, and God bless the world. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in from all over the world. And if you like these hats and this shirt, you know, you don't have to. I hate to be a salesman, but to be honest, I'm so pumped with these. They're kind of tight. It's at dreamrare.com, and that's also my Instagram, dreamrare. DREAMRARE, dreamrare.com. God bless. It's a hat that won't get you attacked, and it's a good vibe. It's what the world needs, God. So appreciate y'all. Have a good day. I'll be back tomorrow, and supporters, look out for a video.